Welcome back to the podcast. We're here today with, well, not Adam because it says Adam there. That's not who it is. We're here with Beau, the young F class shooter who is making waves in the industry. I'm so excited to have you on. As you guys know, I like to have youth shooters on. I was a coach for a very long time, and it's really exciting to see youth shooters, particularly in F class, where you don't often see a lot of youth shooters. And not only that, youth shooters that can probably outshoot you. So how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Mac. How are you going?
I'm doing really well. I appreciate you being on. You're all the way in Australia. We're over here in California. Maybe the furthest you can be away from each other. I think we're 17 hours apart, and you had to wake up real early to do this. So I appreciate that. You doing all right this morning? Are you ready to do this? Then go to school?
Oh yeah, no, I'm all ready.
All right, perfect. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into F class, right? I mean, there's a lot of different disciplines when it comes to shooting, and you don't often see a lot of young shooters choosing F class. So this really excites me. What sort of made you want to do F class?
Well, I started off with Sport 100 when I first started, and basically progressed my way up to F Open. Thought it looked like a cool discipline, so I was like, "Oh, I'll have a crack at that." Seemed pretty cool.
I like that. Just like, oh yeah, I think I'll do it. Well, it's interesting because I mean, you guys have PRS around you, right? Yeah. So, that I think a lot of people think like, oh, they look at that, they think that looks really cool because you get to move from different barricades and you get to shoot at different distances, right? All of this stuff. But you're saying the target shooting really was appealing to you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's what my dad did, and saw him do it, and yeah, really wanted to do it and get into it.
Why don't you just tell us all the truth? You just wanted to beat your dad. That was the whole thing. You're like, I want to get out there. I
That
want to
too.
outshoot my dad, right?
Yeah,
What
there's
was
a little
that?
bit of that. A little bit of that.
Yeah, I believe it. So tell us, how long have you been shooting F class?
Since I was 12,
Since you're
basically.
12, and how old are you now?
14, almost 15.
14. So almost 3 years for you.
Yeah.
And sort of the exciting news around this and sort of what we've gotten into is that you are going to be on the world team. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
And you're going to
That
be
is,
shooting with the adults?
yeah, yeah, it's going to be really
That's
fun.
I mean that's a pretty huge deal, right? I mean, to be able to compete at that level, right? Seeing a couple things. You're younger, obviously, but also you haven't been shooting super long, right? And so some of these guys have been shooting 30 years, 40 years, right? They have a lot of time, they have a lot of effort, they have a lot of money into this sport, and you're sort of going to be rolling over there with all of these big dogs. How are you feeling about that?
Oh, it is. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also confident, and yeah, no, I'm excited for it.
So, what are you looking forward to most about going, international? Is this going to be your first international trip for competition?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you looking forward to the most?
I don't know, the meeting all the people, and just going to a massive event, probably the biggest I've gonna go to, and just experience new stuff and all that, and it'd be really, really cool to see how it goes.
I find that when I talk to a lot of the youth shooters, that's what the biggest thing, right? They're excited about meeting more people. They're excited about sort of just like getting a little bit more and deeper involved, and it's sort of like, well, are you excited about the competition portion, right? Are you excited to be out there, send those down, get some X's, right now in your current shooting? What does your scores look like for you?
So current score is pretty good. Um, Averaging around 60s to 59s in 10 shot stages.
Hmm.
Just came third in a New South Wales Kings, which definitely put me up there, which is really, really good.
And you do V's over there, right? 5 points,
No, we do sixes and X's, and then
sixes and X's.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's always a really interesting to me. If you guys don't know, America is not the only country in the world, and we do things a little bit different, right? So, we do tens essentially, right? And then there's V's overseas. They do fives for scoring, and you guys are doing sixes and X's. And so it's always interesting to sort of hear the difference and see the difference. And are you guys doing paired shooting there or individual shooting?
Yeah, no, we'll be doing paired shooting
Pair shooting, right? And that's
and individual. Yeah.
yeah, that's unique as well because here in the States, we do a lot more individual shooting. And we do have some events, right? If you follow F Class at all, or you're interested in following, the V2 finale has been really the big thing here in the States that's been paired fired based, right? And so I think they're trying to adapt that a little bit more around here, particularly because when there is a world competition, wherever that world competition is, the style of shooting they do there is the style of shooting that every country has to do, right? So if it's paired firing and you do paired, if it's individual like we do here, it's individual. So that's really interesting to me. What do you think it would be like for you if you didn't do paired, right? Have you, or sorry, if you did, yeah, if you didn't do paired, would that feel different to you?
No, we also do individual, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like competitions like Australian Point Series where it's Bisley all the way
Mm-hmm.
to the top. It's yeah, definitely not irregular, so we do it a lot.
I like that. You play any other sports?
Yeah, I play basketball and cricket.
Basketball and cricket.
Yeah.
Have those translated at all over for you to shooting, right? Maybe some of the discipline that goes into it, sort of learning, the skills around it, things like that.
Um, not too much that I know of, maybe like focus and concentration, but I
Mhm.
think that's the only one that kind of translates into shooting.
All right, I got you. I got you. So, how long do you like in a given week? How often do you get to shoot?
Probably once every fortnight on a every second weekend because I'm with my mum
Every
on the other weekend. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody in a actual conversation say a fortnight. I mean that that was awesome. I love that. So you're shooting about every other weekend, and when you go out there, how many rounds are you normally sending down?
Uh, About two stages of 10, so about 20, 22.
22. So you're not going out
Yeah.
there and shooting, 60, 80 rounds at a time. Well, you gotta tell us how are you getting so good with the light amount of rounds. You're doing it every other week, right? What's the sort of training look like for you?
I shoot at my Armidale Rifle Club. Shoot there just for 10 shot stages every second weekend. And then I'll go to like club meets or prize meets at different clubs and shoot there. And that has lot more shots in it. And then progress my way to bigger competitions when they're on. So basically,
Mhm.
it's just every competition or time I shoot's basically training for me.
I got you. And are you doing any dry fire at home or anything like that?
No.
No, no dry fire. You're just out there and just competing and you're just letting it all hang out, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really impressive, right? Because what you hear a lot of times is you hear these enormous round counts, right? You have people who are sending down 5,000 to 10,000 rounds a year. They're traveling all over, right? And it's a lot. So you've been able to do a lot with a little, which is very impressive, right? How's that feel for you, right? And I assume you're shooting with other guys that are on the team, or maybe you're not. I know. Do you live by any other team members?
Yeah, yeah, we're all pretty close actually.
Okay, and so I take it they're probably shooting a bit more than you are.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So how does that feel for you? Like, you're able to go out there, you're able to compete, but they're sending a lot more rounds down and things like that. Do you wish you were shooting more, or do you feel pretty comfortable with where you're at?
I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at. It hasn't really affected my performance, but well, I don't know if it progressed anymore. But it's pretty comfortable because others is really busy, like away from shooting. So yeah, I'm pretty
Mm.
comfortable where I'm at.
And how far away are you from your ranges?
About an hour and a half away from my range, where I go to.
Yeah, I find that the more I talk to people, right, I'm really lucky. I'm 35, 40 minutes from 1,000 yard range. I'm 30 minutes away from a mile. And then I am 20 minutes away from a 300 yard range. And those are all within driving distance of me, right?
Yeah.
So I sort of forget how lucky I am to be that close to all of these ranges. But I talk to people and they say, like, oh, if I have to drive 2 or 3 hours, that's pretty normal. Do you have people that are driving that far to get to your guys' ranges?
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of people. Yeah.
So what's it like training, with your teammates?
Yeah, it's really fun. You get to know each other a lot and how each other shoot and definitely learn a heap. They give good advice, which is really really thankful for and yeah, they're great people, great to be there and you learn a lot basically.
Yeah, I believe, and I would imagine they're sort of like you guys are teammates, but also they're sort of like a mentors, right?
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
like they're helping you, they're guiding you, things like that. Do you have anybody like that's maybe stands out that's helped you maybe a little bit more than anybody else that and if so, like what have they been helping you with?
Definitely Jock. He's in my rifle club, so he helps me do a lot of shooting and gives me a lot of tips. And just basically everyone in that club just they'll hand out tips when they need to and just ready to help you.
So think about like maybe a year ago, right? You're shooting, you're a year and a half in, 2 years into shooting. How is the way you were shooting then? How has that changed to now?
I've definitely noticed a lot of difference in wind and mirage and just a lot of details that I haven't known back then. And yeah, it's just a lot of details in wind reading and definitely like how you put pressure on the gun and everything.
Yeah, it's funny because when you're shooting, right, different disciplines, it doesn't always translate over, right? Particularly like you're talking about pressure on the rifle. Things like that are really interesting. And I've been doing a lot of training on that myself. Like, okay, how much pressure am I going to put on the shoulder? How much am I going to put on the cheek? How much of my hand is actually going to be touching the rifle or the trigger? And you sort of play around with these things. I've seen people shoot with no cheek on at all. I've seen people just free shoot it, right? So it's really interesting to see that. Where have you sort of landed on those fundamentals, right? Let's start from like the back, like pressure on, cheek on, finger on. So like touching it, where have you sort of landed on that?
Yeah, I definitely put a tiny bit of pressure on the gun, but not really much at all. My cheek very much at all pressure and slow trigger control. Basically, not touching the rest at all, and
Hmm.
yeah, just barely any pressure, and just cancels a lot of variabilities out.
Yeah, it's really interesting. In order to do that, right? And I don't want people to get confused, you have to have really, really good equipment, right? Because if you don't have really, really good equipment and consistent equipment, these sort of things don't always play out very well. So, sort of talking about that, can you run through for us, like what does your rifle build look like, right? Starting with, the stock you have it in, and then we can go to like, the trigger and whatever else you have on the system.
Yeah. So I've got a RV Customs Australia stock. I've got a benchmark barrel and a Kelbley Atlas action. I'm running a Golden Eagle Vortex scope and a Darren Bradley tuner.
Okay, and what trigger are you running and what rings are you running?
Running a Rifle Base X, sorry.
Those are your rings?
No, trigger, sorry.
Trigger. Oh, I've never heard of them. Right. That's sort of the interesting thing about talking to people across the country or around the world. Sometimes they have sort of there's a lot of gold standard sort of things that you'll see a lot of people do over and over. But sometimes there's companies that we've never heard of that their people are competing on and doing really well. So I haven't heard of them. And what scope rings are you using?
I'm using, uh, actually, I don't really know what Scope Rings brand are.
Don't remember.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm just generally curious, right? So
Yeah.
you have your rifle, right? What about your rear bag and your front rest?
So I'm using a Seb rear bag and a Neo X front rest.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
got the Neo X. What color did you go with?
I went with the black, silver, and red.
Okay, black, silver, and red. I like that. I have a Seb Neo X, and I have it in red and silver. And then I have a Rodzilla as well, and obviously those are sort of gray, black. Um, But if you guys aren't super familiar with F class, or particularly F class open, right? It's the only discipline where you shoot prone and you get a front rest, right? And so when we're talking about your ability to not have to keep much pressure on that rifle and keep your cheek on the rifle and things like that, it's because you're sitting in a very nice front rest and you have it in a very stable rear bag. And what that sort of does is it allows the rifle to go forward and backwards fairly consistently, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
before you were using the Seb, what were you using?
I was using a can't really
Was it
remember the.
another type of front rest?
Yeah, it was definitely, I can't remember the brand, but it was definitely not as stable as the Neo. It was yeah, it was definitely it was good, but just major difference from the Neo.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when I first got into F class, I sort of transitioned from PRS and I didn't
Yeah,
have a front rest. And so for about a year and a half, maybe two, I shot off bipods. And not like the FTR sliding bipods, like normal MDT bipods, right? So
yeah,
it was very fun and I enjoyed myself, but it was hard to like stay on target super consistently. And we have sort of I'm not sure what your ground is like, but we have like gravel sort of. So the bipods sink as you're
yeah,
shooting.
yeah,
So yeah, so that was super annoying. And the nice thing about the Neo is, they have sort of a spike, but also a flat bottom, so they'll stay, more consistent on top of the ground. Um, for you guys, what are you shooting on at your range? What sort of soil or grass, or I don't know, maybe you guys are shooting on cement?
yeah. We've usually got like grass and dirt, which are really
Oh,
stable, but some ranges around here do have cement, which we just take the foot pegs out of and then sit it down, and it's nice and stable too. So yeah, mainly dirt and
mm.
cement. So we got here.
Yeah, I use when I shoot. So the 300 yard at that range is cement, and I use there's like the little plates on the bottom where you can put the spike into. So
Yep.
I use that, and it works. It works pretty well. So I like that. So you're saying that a year ago, you were having a little bit more trouble with wind, with mirage, things like that. And you're saying that you've developed that a lot more, which is awesome because that's a big component of the game, right? Is how well can you read wind? And obviously, I hope you have your sort of mechanics in place, but so far as your rounds, what are you shooting? What are you sending down range?
Uh, we've got with burger projectiles with 180s from my 284
Mm,
and Lapua brass
okay, and what powder are you using?
using pretty sure it's 80i
Okay.
double
Yeah,
209.
those 180s are, I mean, it's pretty much the go-to in F class. I know people that are winning with not running those or running other ones, but those 180 burgers seem to do really really well. Obviously, Lapua Brass is very good. So that that's awesome. And you've been able, were you always shooting that or did you progress to that?
I progressed to that. So when I got my 284, I started on 168s and then
Hmm.
kind of moved up. But then even before my 284, I had a 6 mil dasher and
Okay.
yeah, ran 105s on those and they were really good. But yeah,
Tell us a little bit, like if I'm somebody who doesn't know about shooting, you're talking about moving up on these projectiles, right? Like why would you move up? What's the advantage for that? Like what did you personally see, right? Because you're a fairly small person, right? I mean, that's a lot more
yeah,
recoil, there's a lot more
yeah,
pressure hitting you, things like that. What was that like for you?
yeah. Definitely like it's definitely changes in you know, BC and like less wind draft and definitely helps in that. And yeah, there is more recoil that comes in it, but yeah, there's yeah, basically it helps better as you go up.
You ever get any bruises from the from the recoil? No,
No,
I
no, I
guess it's
haven't had
just
that
me.
yet.
Yeah. Just me. No, I do. Like, well,
Yeah,
also, I tend to, when I go to the range, I tend to send 80 to 100 rounds down
yeah,
every
no,
time I go. So, yeah, I'll spend 6 to 8 hours. I'm also testing stuff and things like that. But, I'm sending a lot of rounds down there in one session. And then also, like, I want to let my barrel cool and things like that. So it just takes forever. But yeah, by the next day, I'm like, oh, yeah, that hurts a little bit. So, so do you have any friends that are shooting with you, or it's just and or what I mean by that is any younger friends that are sort of around your age?
there are people around my age, but I don't have any school friends doing it with me or anything like that. But yeah, there are
Mm.
younger people that do it that I know.
And are they going to the world as well, or you're the only one?
I'm the only one out of them, but the yeah, so under 25's team, there's yeah, it's only me around my age going, and then the rest are pretty much older than me.
I got you. And when you talk to people, maybe people your age, maybe people a little bit older, and they ask you, what is F class shooting, right? Because I hear this all the time. PRS shooters don't know what F class is. I talk to rimfire shooters, they don't know what is F class. How do you describe it to people?
That's a tricky question, but I guess I got to describe the setup for to them, like
Mm-hmm.
in large scope and big heavy guns. Basically, if they didn't know anything about it, so I just like
Mm-hmm.
describe the whole setup. Big stable rests and rear bags and
Mm-hmm.
with joysticks and all that. So yeah, definitely like much I don't know rich and fancier than like I don't know, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
normally
big
describe
ball.
it. Yeah, maybe you can tell me if this is a good way to describe it. I normally describe it as long range target shooting, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
it sort of paints a picture in their head, like, and I'll always use an example, like, you may have seen like people shooting off props and hitting still targets and things like that, right? These are the people that are shooting at a target, right? What you would normally see, right? And you would picture in your head as at a range, and their goal is to get it in the center, right? Every single
yeah,
time. That's the goal. And so that's normally how I tell them. And then I tell them that it's typically 1,000 yards. And they go, oh, have you heard this question before? Like what's a good score, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
and I remember when I first started, and I was curious about X's. I was like, like how many are tens? Like how many tens are these guys getting? How many X's? Because in my brain I thought like, oh, if there's 100 points available, right? They're getting, they're getting 80s or whatever. And when I talk to the guys, they're like hundreds. They're getting perfect scores, and it comes down to the X's, which is so interesting. Is that sort of how you thought about it as well?
yeah, yeah. That's definitely how I thought of like a elite class and everything. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
definitely blew my mind away how precise it is.
Yeah, and it's gotten so much more competitive, right? And I don't know if you have the opportunity. Do you have any like favorite F class shooters maybe around the world that aren't, in Australia?
I've seen Eric Cortina. Um,
Uh-huh.
Definitely. I haven't watched too much on him, but definitely know that he's a big one and speedy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, Cortina, I mean, Cortina is the guy, right? If you
yeah,
if you want to learn about F-class shooting and a lot of shooting stuff, Cortina Precision, I mean, they have their tuners, they got a lot of really cool stuff, but also he puts out a ton of content and it was a big resource for me, right? Now, I cover all things long range, so I've had a lot of favorite people in different disciplines, but definitely him and definitely F-class John, who they're buddies, right? And so I love a lot of what they put out. Um, and Speedy as well, although Speedy's a bench rush shooter, right? But a lot of what they're doing translates really heavily over to F class shooting.
yeah,
So far as like, I assume you like going on YouTube, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch any shooting stuff on YouTube?
I've watched a little bit. I don't watch like a heap of it, but I've definitely like dove in and had a little look at it.
Man, you're just out there and you're just like living in your own world,
Yeah,
going to the range every once in a week and just beating people. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool. I did a podcast with Shiloh, who's a 13-year-old F class competitor out here, and she's really talented. And they travel around the country. She's private school, and her sister is younger than her. I think she's 8, and her sister is starting to beat her.
yeah.
So it's really, yeah, it's really, really crazy to see, you youth shooters out there. And I sort of wonder if you guys are maybe just a little bit more relaxed when you shoot. You're just able to concentrate more on what you're doing. I mean, do you see any like or feel any differences in the way you shoot versus how the adults you're shooting with are shooting?
I don't really see much difference.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really tell when they're like shooting. You just focused and everything, but yeah, I wouldn't know too much. I'm pretty sure we're all around the same.
Well, let's hope not, right? Because you want to be the best. You don't want to be the
Yeah,
same as everyone else, right? You guys are trying to get up there. You're trying to do well, right? I'm really excited. I'm going to be out there for the Euros this year, filming that. That's the beginning of September. And then next year I'll be out there for the Worlds filming that as well. And so I'm excited. I'm going to get to meet you in person and hopefully see you do really well. Now, obviously, it's a little conflicting for me because my home country is the US, right? So I'm a huge fan of the shooters from here. My wife is from England, so my second, sort of home is the UK.
yeah,
Um, and so I'm sort of rooting for them. So I want them to beat you, but also I want you to do really well.
yeah.
So, I got my fingers crossed that you're going to be out there and do well, but I think the experience is the really the important thing here, right? You're gonna go over the out there. You're gonna do some international shooting. You're gonna be surrounded by the best shooters in the world, right? And this could be really across all disciplines. These guys are really, really outstanding in what they do. And not only that, I was talking to your dad, and he was saying that you're not even sponsored.
No, I have a couple couple sponsors, like X Vision via uh, Vortex and
Mm-hmm.
and RV Custom Stocks Australia give a lot of support, and I
Mm-hmm.
know Night Force are giving support to the team as well.
Okay. I love to hear that, man. But I'm like, I'm over here and I'm thinking like these youth shooters, like you guys from head to toe, right? We need to have hats, we need to have shirts, we need to have, everything, you guys should have sponsored because you guys are the future of the sport. But not only that, it's, like it's helpful, right? You don't have a job, I don't think. Do you have a job?
No, I get paid like doing little jobs like out in gardens and all that, but no, I don't have a full job.
Right, exactly right. So we got to help the youth shooters out. We got to do that. And I'm hoping, this is going to go out. People are going to see it. And, and especially when you go to the UK, I'm hoping that you'll be able to make some connections and do that. And, eventually you and I will be competing against each other. How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
no, it's definitely exciting to see. I also will be doing the individual event, so I'm definitely going to be surrounded by a lot of great shooters, and hope good to really excited to meet them all and have a chat with them.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm a huge fan of watching shooting. I know that not everybody, that's not their thing. And even people who compete, right? They want to be competing and watching. Now, I like to compete. I want to do really well, things like that. But part of the reason I do what I do is because I'm a purely a fan of it. So I'm really excited to be out there just as a fan, watching people compete, seeing what they're competing with, looking at the technique, right? I learned a lot of really interesting stuff when I went to Southwest Nationals. I was filming there, and I pull a lot of stuff from different disciplines over to F class, to see if it makes any sense or if it works. So I'm excited for you to sort of see that, and I know that you're obviously seeing a lot with your team right now. But to see some of these other guys around the world, will be really, really cool, and to see you interact with them and things like that. So that's really exciting. I know that you got to get to school. You got things going on this morning, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I do want to say, in this journey that you have with F class, what are you sort of looking forward to for the future?
Definitely looking forward to learning heaps more, especially like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
over there. And like I agree with you, I learn things when I'm actually doing it, and then learn other things by watching people. Definitely like
Mm-hmm.
different factors. And yeah, I'm just so excited to meet a lot of people, develop my shooting skill, and see how far I can go.
And are you hoping, the next big goal for you, I would imagine, is a world gold, right?
Yeah, that is definitely the goal for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really big goal for your age, right? Not only that, but for
Yeah.
your country.
Mm.
So that's going to be, really, really cool to see that sort of come together, and to sort of see where you're at. But outside of like the worlds, right? What are some of your hopes for maybe something that's a little bit more closer to you? Maybe winning. I don't know if you guys have state titles there or a national title, how that really works for you guys. But do you have anything like that on your horizon?
Yeah, we do have state and all of that, but I also would like to win like a just winning at Kings would be really good. New South Wales or Queensland like Kings, it'd be
Mhm.
definitely major major win for me. Would be really
I love
exciting
it.
to see if I could do it.
I love it. Well, hey man, I appreciate you being on the podcast, and more importantly, I appreciate you doing F class shooting.
Yeah,
The F class shooting is my style. I love it. I love to see youth out there, and so thank you. Continue to do it. Bring more people in. Bring your friends. Tell them to join in.
yeah,
Right. Let's
yep,
get more youth shooters into the sport. And guys, if you're following along, follow his journey. Right. I don't think you have any social medias, right? Yeah. So, follow me and I'll let you guys know his journey, right? But we'll continue to follow along. I saw that you were on the news. That's how we got connected, right? I saw you were on the news. I got connected to your dad and your dad. So I appreciate him letting you be on, and you telling us a little bit about your journey, and why F class is important to you and how you're training and things like that. We're hoping that this will be a resource for other youths that are out there that want to get into this, right? You're out there, you're setting the tone. So thank you very much. And before we go, is there anything that you wanted to say? Maybe you forgot a sponsor. Maybe you want to thank your dad. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything you want to say before we go.
definitely like to thank my dad. Definitely wouldn't be able to do any of this without him. I also would like to thank my gunsmith Darren. He's really really good, and wouldn't be able to do it without him. And the under 25s team, definitely give a lot of support to them. And yeah, it's just been really thankful for a lot of people.
That's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate them. Make sure you send our thanks to them. And for all of you guys that are listening, thanks a lot. Continue to support the youth, continue to support the channel and help us grow. Go ahead, do a like, do a share, leave a comment. And most importantly, if you have some time, get out to the range, take the shot, and we'll see you guys next time.